On today's episode of Globetrotting with Trey, we're going inside the Chattanooga Choo-Choo, old Chattanooga train depot, where on July 4th, 1956, Elvis was here. Before we get to the story, to the location, let's learn about Elvis a few days before these photos are captured. This is July 1st, 1956. Elvis is on the Steve Allen Show. Yeah, live on national television. And during this show, Elvis sang to a hound dog. He sang hound dog to a hound dog. And later on in life, Elvis would tell the world that this was the most humiliating thing of his entire career. But hey, it made good video content. And Elvis seems like he sang his heart out to this hound dog. And look who this is. My favorite, Andy Griffith, appeared on this show with Elvis this night. And they did a comedy sketch about gum, of all things. Andy does his thing and gets a lot of laughs, and then Elvis steps to the camera and says,
Dentists recommend Tonto bars because tests prove it causes more cavities than any other candy.
July 2nd, 1956, I can place Elvis in RCA Studio in New York City. And July 2nd is when he records the two songs, Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel. And by looking at the smile in this photo, I feel like Elvis probably thought he brought it. And he was probably enjoying his life during this superstar year of 1956. But he's probably tired. So the late night of July 3rd, he boards a train in New York City to head home to Memphis, Tennessee. Some iconic photos were captured on this train trip, like the one I'm showing you right now. But in the early morning hours of July 4th, 1956, the train that Elvis is on makes a stop at this building, the Chattanooga Train Depot.
In Chattanooga, Tennessee. And inside this building that you're looking at, some very famous pictures of Elvis was captured. Let's explore. So here's Elvis enjoying a afternoon lunch, dinner. This was on July the 4th, 1956, on his trip home to Memphis, Tennessee, to Graceland, from New York City, where he appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show. And Elvis is sitting here at a diner. Where could this be at, friends? This is 1956. Here I am in 2020. Elvis was right here. Pretty much exactly right here in this area where I am standing. And if you see in this picture, check in the picture right here. Look at that behind Elvis. And look at that on the corner of this wall right here. There it is. That was behind Elvis in the picture, still there. And the way I know that I am in the right location is because of that. Check the picture out again. And that was here, 1956. This area has been remodeled a few years ago. But that little section right here where the restroom is now, it looks like when Elvis was here, it was could have been a restroom at that point because the door is still there in exactly the same place. So that layout has not changed. But yeah, right here where I'm standing was an old lounge. As you can see, people that were catching trains would come in here and eat right here in this area. And Elvis Presley did the same thing. You can come and visit here if you're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Come and stand where the king was.
Now look at this photo of Elvis sitting at that counter. Look at the doors that lead out to the train depot. Look at the old Coca-Cola machine. Where was this captured? Right here. Once upon a time. Yeah, entirely different. They've added on a part of the building right here. But that door used to be right there. Elvis was sitting right here in front of us.
A door would have been just right here. This is all new. This would have taken you outside, as you can see in the picture, to the train tracks. So let's imagine Elvis was literally right here in front of me in this picture.
Now let's go outside because there's another photo of Elvis captured right out here, July 4th, 1956, the Chattanooga train depot.
And I looked up and down these rows. These, of course, this is original. This is out back of the train depot. And I looked up and down the rows. I looked at all these poles because there's a pole in the picture with Elvis. And I looked at all the cement, all the cracks, everything, looking to see if I can find where this certain picture that was taken of Elvis could have been captured at. And I probably spent an hour and a half out here, and it was hot. Let me tell you, I mean, if you're from the South, you know what I'm talking about. But I looked all around, and right here where I'm standing at, of course, would have been where an original train track would have been. So, you know, Elvis's train could have been here where I'm standing. So guys, I used all my investigating skills that I learned from Rockford, the Rockford Files. I love that show. But unfortunately, after about an hour and a half looking out here, I didn't give up because I found it. Here's Elvis getting off the train on July the 4th, 1956. And look at the pole. Here's the pole. Elvis was right here. This is where he got off the train. The train had been back there where those bushes are. And there's the train in this picture. There's the pole again. Look at the cracks if you can see there on the picture. Elvis was right here. So how do I know that, you might ask? Well, it's my investigating skills because I was looking for something in particular while I was out here for an hour and a half looking. And it was that crack. Look how it makes a curve. Look at the little two rock areas that are parallel with each other. Now look in this picture with Elvis. There's that same crack that's curved that I looked for and looked. And there's the two little rock areas, and they're very prominent in this picture. Now look again at the video.
There it is today. Those two rock areas, the curve.
Look at the little rock area on the other side of it. Now look in the picture again from Elvis in 1956, and it looks like that same little rock area was there when Elvis was here.
It took me a while, guys, but I did not quit. And this is on-location investigation at its finest. And this is why I like going to places and looking around. So when you visit, just remember it is the 8th column.
Elvis was on the other side of that column. His train was right there behind where all the bushes are and flowers is today. But if you see that building there at the end, just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see the crack right here in the middle. Elvis was right there. I'm positive I have found a place. I walked all over this place and I looked for those cracks. And that one to me lines up.
So Elvis and the guys got off the train right down there where I showed you. They walked down this sidewalk.
And it makes sense because right through here, of course this was not there in 56, is where the picture of him sitting at the counter takes place, is really just straight ahead in front of me. It would have been open then, so he would probably just walk straight through those doors and been there at that little diner where the famous pictures of him that I just showed you from inside the depot took place. So now that makes sense.
So guys, if you're ever in Chattanooga, Tennessee, come to the Chattanooga Choo-Choo and just follow my directions on this video and walk down that sidewalk. And the 8th column from the end is going to be where Elvis's photo was captured. Here's another photo of Elvis inside the train depot at a magazine rack. And this was somewhere inside the building. And luckily, when I was there, I was told where it would have been. right here where this red building is now.
This would have been where the magazine stand would have been, right in that corner, right near, as you see that Eklund Studios, that's where Elvis's picture at the diner was captured. So Elvis was just right there by the magazine stands, which would make sense of him being there and that same girl being in the picture with him. But look at this architect design. Amazing. Check out this old phone booth. Do you think Elvis could have used that? You never know. And look at the ticket counter. I'm sure Gene or someone bought Elvis's ticket from there.
This lady right here, her name is Wanda Lee, and she just stopped me here at the Choo-Choo Motel while I was doing this video on Elvis, and she told me she actually grew up in a neighborhood beside Graceland, and she has a story to share with us. So tell us, Wanda.
So Graceland was actually a subdivision. Originally, Graceland was just the name of it had been a plantation, but they took all the other land around it and turned it into a subdivision. And I grew up in that subdivision, went to school at Graceland Elementary. And that's in Memphis, of course. And then stories that I have about Elvis, you used to see him all around. He used to play at the touch football, and he'd bring famous actors from Hollywood out with him. And Vince Edwards was one I remember seeing, and they would play touch football at our elementary school on the playground. And then you'd see him at like the local grocery stores, and he would be there in one of the Cadillacs, and he'd just say hi, and he was always very friendly. But my cousin lived down the way from where his stepbrothers lived, and she used to go swim over there with them. And sometimes when I was there watching her, because she was a little younger than I was, I would go with her and swim in the pool. And the bad thing is you didn't think anything of it because you just grew up expecting Elvis to always be there. And when I was really little, my mom taught at a school, and he used to come and he would play at the sock hops. And I remember dancing at a sock hop when I was about 3 years old, and Elvis' band was playing. So that's my story. He was a very nice person and always very personable to everyone.
So, and you actually grew up around Graceland.
I did.
Elvis lived there.
Yes.
So going back to that time of your life, what was it like to be around there? Like, would fans be at the gates all the time?
Not as much as it became after he died, unfortunately, but people just took it for granted. And like I said, he would show up, you would go to the grocery store. There was a little place that was called Day and Night, and you could go and buy really good. The man named Louis owned it, and he did really great butchering. And so people would go there, and you would go to get your stuff at Louis, and Elvis would be sitting out there, and you just talk to you. And
so he would be sitting in the car.
He'd be sitting in the car, and I actually somewhere along the way have a receipt from Day and Night that he signed, and if I could find it, I guess it'd be worth a fortune, but I've never found it.
But you have his autograph
somewhere. One of these days I'll find it and I'll send it.
You're gonna subscribe to Globetrotting with Trey.
Oh, there you go.
And then you're gonna let me know that you found it, and we're gonna put it on a video.
Well, I would love to do that because I know that would be something to keep. But he was always nice, and he actually paid for the land that built the high school that I went to that's called Hillcrest. And they wanted to name it Presley High, but a bunch of people complained that they didn't like that, so they wouldn't name it. We were almost called the Hound Dogs, but then we became the Vikings instead. But he was a nice person.
I really enjoy this, and now you work here
Yeah.
in a place where some famous pictures of Elvis exists.
Yes.
And how can, if the fans would like to come here to Chattanooga and come inside the Choo-Choo Motel or stay here, how can they get in touch with you guys?
Well, we own Gate 11 Distillery. We make gin, vodka, rum, whiskey, and absinthe. And come in, we have a full bar. My husband's been a distiller for years. We're here because he was from here, and so we came back this direction.
So you guys own Gate 11?
We own Gate 11.
All right, friends.
Yeah.
So she met Elvis, she hung around, she went swimming in this pool at Graceland, and she lived in Whitehaven. So friends, when you come here to the Choo-Choo Motel, you've got to come to Gate 11 and buy some food or some drinks.
Drinks. We
It's
have
just
no
drinks,
food. Yeah.
Buy some wine. What's your
No,
best?
gin, vodka, rum, or whiskey,
Not
or
wine,
absinthe.
friends.
Yeah.
Gin, vodka, rum, or whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's an Elvis fan,
Yeah.
just like you.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate this.
It's nice to meet you.
Hey, nice meeting you too.
Yeah.
So if you want to sit where the king was in 1956, come here to the Choo-Choo Motel, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this is Ekelund Studio, right inside the old train depot. And you can walk in here, and from this video, Elvis was right here. Thanks for watching Globetrotting with Trey. Remember, don't forget, subscribe. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing, and you stay updated with every new video that I upload, which is once every week, and some special videos here and there. Until next time, I'll see you down the road.
One more thing. On the evening of July 4th, after Elvis stopped at the Chattanooga Choo-Choo for breakfast, he was on the stage at the famous Rustwood Park show that you're seeing on screen. So Elvis had a big July 4th, 1956. And I, Globetrotting with Trey, hope you have a good July 4th, 2023. Thanks for watching.